Well,
Oh,
speaking of sons,
oh,
mine's getting married Saturday. I'm so excited. So anyway, if I seem a little out of sorts, I am. It's called sleep deprivation and overload. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us for another QB Power Hour. We're very glad to have you joining us today and our special guests with some Intuit folks helping within coming on screen in a little bit and with some of the folks in the background. We're going to be talking about what's new from Intuit, some new feature, some new functionality, some new programs, different things that are coming out that we wanted to share with you all. My name is Michelle Long. I am a CPA with an MBA in entrepreneurship, owner of Long for Success, speaker for Intuit for a very long time. I first started speaking
Michelle,
for
I don't
Intuit.
think it. I don't think the slides are moving. I'm only
Ah,
seeing the.
there you go. Sorry
There you
about
go.
that. But I've been a speaker for Intuit since '07, and I absolutely love it. There's some of the links to the Facebook group. We'd love to have you join us out there and continue the conversation. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Dan DeLong, owner of Dan With. Worked at Intuit for about 18 years and co-host today. Also co-hosting Workshop Wednesdays, brought to you by another company of mine, School of Bookkeeping. Did some tech editing for QBO for Dummies, and yeah, the top 10 ProAdvisor for social media. And sorry, they just decided to mow the lawn like right next to right
Of
next to
course.
the trailer. So I'm a little bit distracted by them about to run over most of my stuff. But
Great.
let's go ahead and continue.
All right. Ian, do you want to introduce yourself quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Ian. I'm a product manager with the QuickBooks Online accountant. I have a exciting update I want to share with you. So happy to be here today.
Great. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to the other Intuit folks that are going to be answering questions in the background and who helped Dan and I with getting these slides together and all that. So about the QB Power Hours, as you know, it is every other Tuesday at noon Eastern. It is not eligible for CPE. We do have sales tax update with Avalara coming in on the next one on April 12th. Then we'll talk about the desktop migration. We'll do a demonstration of that, talk about best practices. As you can see, then we've got some other ones scheduled all the way up through June. So we'd love to have you keep joining us for all of these. There is the link to the PDFs of the slides, the recordings, and the podcast, and other resources, all available at qbpowerhour.com/resources. So you can check those out. A couple of housekeeping things. As you know, you can chat in the chat box with each other very easily, but we really ask that you put your specific questions in the Q&A box. That makes it easier for us to monitor those. They don't get lost in all the other comments that you have, and it allows us to respond to those and the Intuit folks that are helping with Q&A to respond to those as well. Then also, as I mentioned, the handouts are available in the resources of today's slides. So before we really get into it, what version of QuickBooks do you support for your client? Go ahead and answer this first poll question. What version do you support? And I was realizing I haven't supported desktop clients for probably 3 to 5 years now. It's been a while since I've actually worked with desktop clients.
Well, it's like a bike. It's like a bike. You can just get right back on it.
That's what they tell me. So somebody doesn't see the poll. It does pop up, Kimberly. So if you didn't see it, you might need to make sure that you've allowed pop-ups. But we don't have CPE, so if you can't answer the poll, it's not the end of the world.
Yes, not too terrible. Now, Michelle, we're going to be talking about something that we got to meet actually face to face in person and do these things. But you have some pictures to share of the event. Let's talk about the event that we went to, and then we'll go into what we actually talked about.
I do. So Dan and I had the privilege of going to the Accountant Influencer Summit in Mountain View, California, at the mothership, the headquarters of Intuit. And it was wonderful to be back there because, everything's been shut down for so long. We haven't had any live events in a long time. Ted Callahan, the director of the accountants division, that was his first time back in the office. So it was wonderful to have a live event, and you can see everybody's smiling faces. So there's Dan and Hector and I. There's a lot of us in one room because we had 2 days of discussions and sessions and everything. We also got to go around the campus. So if you all have heard the story about Scott Cook and how he created Quicken, he created it at the kitchen table for his wife who was struggling with her checkbook. There is the table. That is the table where it all began. Gosh, 30 some years ago. It's been a long time. And you can see beautiful campus.
One thing about that table that was that I picked up about it, because I mean, working at Intuit, I knew all about the table.
Yeah.
Is that the Smithsonian has actually asked for that table, and they said no. They find that it causes more synergy having it there at the headquarters, and they actually can sit at the table, and they can actually have meetings around the original kitchen table that was used to develop these things. So it's not just like behind glass, for people to look at. It's actually part of the culture there.
Well, they do have glass on top of it to protect
it,
but you can actually sit in it, take pictures and all that stuff. So, and the campus
I'd hate to be the Intuit employee who caused a ring mark.
That's right. Leaving the glass
on the table.
Yeah. But the whole campus is just beautiful. There you can see some of the fountains that they have. They have like 20 different buildings on the campus because, as you know, in California, you don't have sky-rise towers, really tall buildings because of the earthquake stuff. So they have a lot of buildings. We went outside and enjoyed our lunch. It's a beautiful view of the valley. It is right there by Google and all the other tech companies, right by Stanford and Palo Alto for the Apple headquarters, Google headquarters right there. It's just beautiful with the mountains. And if you looked close, you could even see the bay in the background. So it was pretty cool. Then we had what was called a gallery walk. So that's the one you can see where we're all standing around talking. And that's where product managers and other people like In and others would talk to Dan and I and everybody. We got to just go to all the different booths to talk about what they're working on. What are some new features, some new functionality, new things that they're working on. They would demo it to us and we could give them feedback and ask questions and things like that. Now, Dan and I are under NDA. We cannot discuss everything. So what we did is we went through and we picked out some of the things that are new that are already available or publicly have been talked about to where we could share those with you today. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Starting with the QuickBooks Business Network. That was one of the things that I thought was pretty cool. And the reason I think it's pretty cool is it's kind of like EDI for small businesses, where you can share data with your vendors and your customers and things, other QuickBooks users in real time. Now, I'm not going to read that whole definition for you. You guys can read through that. But it allows you for other people that are using QuickBooks, which, as you know, it is the #1 software. So there's millions of other users out there that you can find your customers and vendors. So for example, let's pretend Dan is a vendor and he's doing some work for me and he creates an invoice. It can automatically populate in my QuickBooks company as a bill to be paid. It will pull Dan's contact information and pull his phone number and things like that. And if Dan changes his address because he's going all around the country, he updates his address in his company, and it can automatically update that information in mine as well. So it streamlines the transactions to where you don't have to enter this. Like if I enter a purchase order, it's automatically going to my vendor. When they create the invoice and fill that purchase order, it's automatically going to populate a bill in my QuickBooks. So I love that. We're getting EDI for the small businesses basically here. And Martha says the Business Network just showed up in her client's file this morning. So that's great. And she's saying you have to approve the bill that's found in the email to be posted, the bills. So anyway, it is connecting you with other QuickBooks users, and you can just search for a name to find them out there. And if you'll see them, and then you can select them and create that connection there. So I think that's pretty cool. And I talked about importing the invoices directly into your books. You can pull that in. Go ahead.
Oh, I think Bill.com has something very similar in their solution where users can opt in and then because things are going back and forth between the same users. This is very similar to that. So I think that's the main benefit, I think, of using it, is that when you have two QuickBooks users, it's less data entry, when you send somebody an invoice, just, a click and now it's in my books,
Yep.
for back and forth.
Well, and with the less data entry, you're saving time. So you don't have to have somebody who has to sit there and keep inputting all these things or anything. And it's more accurate. You don't have the opportunity for errors and things for that. And then somebody else in the chat, I think that's still Martha, said, great for cash flow analysis, getting closer to real-time data every day. And I think that's the thing that I was hitting. Again, we're automating these processes where we're eliminating data entry. So I loved that. I thought that was pretty cool. Dan, were you going to talk about getting paid up front?
Yes. It should be more information on the next, if you've been, I guess it didn't refresh, but
you know what?
No.
Let me go ahead and finish a couple of topics and then
Okay.
we'll let you cover that on your session, because I
Okay.
downloaded them to PowerPoint. So they're probably in the Google Slides. So
Okay.
the other thing that I thought was really cool, and it's available now, is the Amazon Business app. It'll bring those business purchases into QuickBooks automatically by line items. So I think that's really cool. So when you go into the transactions, let me show you here. Oh, I got a video. Uh-oh, it's not displaying properly. So I will go to Plan B and I will pull it up in Chrome in that folder. Let's see if I can get it going here. Anyway, with the Amazon Business app, while I'm pulling this up, I'm going to tell you, you have to have a Prime account and a Amazon Business account. An Amazon Business account, which is free.
It's not your personal Prime that you have, for your own stuff. It's actually a business.
Correct.
Business account.
And you can so you can get a business. Oops, it's playing now. Can you hear it?
No, we couldn't hear it. Did you
Okay.
share with your sound? I have it up here.
I'll let you share it.
Okay, so let me steal it from you here.
The thing of it is, you get an Amazon Business account for free. Then you have a Business Prime account if you choose to. If you upgrade to Business Prime, that's like $69. You don't have to have that to use this and pull these transactions in. You just have to have the free business account. So Dan, if you want to
see if this
share,
plays here.
You need to share your screen. I am seeing yours. Go. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's horrible when we have the same slides up. It's muted.
Here from the Partner Integrations team. I'm going to very quickly walk through the workflow to get the most out of the Amazon Business Purchases app. The app can be found in the Apps tab on the left navigation or on apps.com, or you can find it by searching with the banks. Now, this is for Amazon Business, not Amazon.com, so it has to be an Amazon Business account for this integration to work. What the app does is it brings in additional details and makes it easier to categorize expenses at a line item. So here you can see some of these are categorized. The default is always going to be, unless you change it, which I'll show you shortly, office supplies and software. Oh, wrong one. So here we go. You can go in and see all the items that were associated with this purchase. If I click on this link, the order number, I will then, it will open up a PDF of this order if you wanted additional details, but I can see what these items were purchased and categorize them all individually fairly easy. Once I've made the correct selections, I just click add, and then I can find the expense that was created in the reviewed tab. So here we go. Here is the expense that was created with all the different categories broken out and the description. And if something wasn't correct, I can amend the expense itself, or I can also undo the transaction. In which case, I can again find it in for review to make any changes I need. For Amazon Business, for the settings, your defaults are here. So during setup, we do prompt users to match the credit card with whatever you call it in QuickBooks. And then I can change the default should I want to. Now, after I've created that expense, what I can do then is go into my banking tab, and it will be, if I have the credit card in which was used to make that purchase, then I can just match it and that categorization is automatically done. If you have any other questions about the app, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Caitlin Wilczynski, and I'm the product manager who helps drive this integration. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. And I think that is great. I loved how she demoed it to show you all.
Sorry.
And you've got screenshots here of what she just demoed for you. But I love how it's right there in the transactions. So you have one feed for one tab for your bank transactions, one tab for your Amazon feed there, and it's pulling those line item details in, and you can really drill down and see the information without having to go over to Amazon, log in, look up that order. So if you have any questions, it's all right there. So I think that's really cool. And again, it's automating that process where we're getting all of this data entered automatically, eliminating problems and streamlining our workflows for us. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Dan, do you have anything else to add on the Amazon business? You're muted.
I'm muted.
There you go.
I think that's that comes in really handy because typically you don't just buy one thing at Amazon. They're very good at saying other people bought this, right? Everybody knows the Amazon buying experience. There's lots of impulse buys at the end of the checkout, so that one charge is typically not just one thing. So being able to split that and see that is an advantage. Like I was originally trying to understand, well, what's the benefit of this, right? Like why would I see those charges come in from Amazon, and my customer would just say, well, that was this or that was that. But being able to see the actual product, so otherwise he'd have to go into his Amazon account, figure out what he actually purchased, and then we would then categorize it. Well, here you can see it all in one place.
Right.
And somebody asked in the Q&A, because this app resides in app transactions in the bank feed, if you have other app transactions like Square, can you see both? Can you use both of these? And the answer is yes, you can. There should be a drop down at the top when you're in app transactions.
Yes.
You should have a drop down to see your other apps that are connected through this.
And if your client is using a personal Amazon account, they can upgrade or change that to a business account, an Amazon business account. They don't have to pay unless they want the business prime. And like I said, it's like $69 or something like that. And then there's some other options you can do if you want to. But I think this is great to get those details in without doing that data entry. So I was impressed by that. Wanted to share that with y'all. So check that out. It's in the transactions tab where you'll find your bank fees and things like that. And once you, like she mentioned in the video, once you download and once you add that Amazon transaction, then it's going to match in your banking area. So I think that's great. Dan, do you want to go ahead and start Rev Share? So this was another thing that's really great in impacting us as the accounting professionals. And I know I've heard for years, a lot of people, when we had the old wholesale pricing, they didn't like using their credit card and then having to bill their clients and things like that. They just didn't kind of like that. So a lot of them would skip the discounts and just have it direct billed to the clients. Well, now with this Rev Share program, Intuit is going to handle Intuit is going to direct bill the clients, and we get a 30% revenue share for 12 months of that subscription. Dan, if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide there. So it's going to be part of the new ProAdvisor preferred pricing that we have. Instead of, as you know, wholesale went away, gosh, last summer, I think it was. It's been gone for quite a while. And we have the PAPP now, ProAdvisor preferred pricing. So you, as you can see there, you can get 30% monthly for like 12 months. And it's available to all of us who are QBOA users. All QBOA firms are eligible to apply and enroll with it. It started rolling out last month because in February. We're still March.
Yeah,
another day or so. This April's coming soon. I know that. So anyway, it is in the subscriptions and billing tab. And I think, Dan, you said you were going to maybe demo this for us?
Yeah, let me just pull this up here. Let's make sure on what screen I want to be on here.
And so you
drag
guys,
this over here.
you can still choose if you want to
Yeah.
do this or direct bill the client and not do this. You can opt into this, right, Dan?
Yeah. So when you're adding a client, just like you would in, and maybe I'm stealing Inyoung's thunder here.
Yeah, we should let him show it.
But when you're adding a client, you would enter in their information, and then you'll just have three options now. Now you have this bill my client for the direct discount, and then that's not partaking of the revenue share, but typically the discount will be a little longer than what it would be with the revenue share. But then your ProAdvisor discount, where it's what used to be the wholesale billing is now the ProAdvisor preferred pricing. But that's in perpetual discount, where it's billed your firm, but the bill my client is the discount is temporary, as well as the revenue share piece of that. So once you sign up for it, you choose one, it'll change the cost of what that would be selected. And then if you haven't signed up for it, you'd have the ability to sign up for it right there. Or there you got to, well, maybe we should just ask Ian how does that all work then?
Yeah, so if you click on sign up, it's going to take you to the revenue share tab, which is going to be located within subscription and billing. So you just click on it, and that just started the application process. So the purpose of the application is we just need to collect some information about your firm for tax purposes. So we're going to ask for your company address, business name, and also ask you to upload the W-9. And lastly, we're also going to ask you to provide us with the bank account, because we do need your bank account to send out the payout to you. So that's but this is only just a one-time thing.
How frequently are the payouts? Are they monthly, or is it quarterly, or is it just at the end of the year? How does that work?
It is monthly, so you're gonna get the payout every month.
And do you see like a report of active clients on the that you referred that are part of the direct or the revenue share?
That's right. So that's where the revenue share tab comes in. So if you're going to be able to see the dashboard with the.
Do you want to share your screen? Do you have a demo of the dashboard of what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Pass it over to you.
All right.
And we have some other folk asking, how do you enroll?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be available for everyone to enroll, or is it a slow rollout like most things, or is it all just random?
Absolutely. So we're doing a phased rollout. So we released revenue share program to a small number of QuickBooks Online accounting users, but eventually this program is going to be available to all QuickBooks Online accountants account in the United States. So once this is released to your account, you're going to be able to see revenue share payouts tab under subscription and billing. And if you click on get started, that's going to start the application process. And as per the dashboard, you can locate. So once you're enrolled in the program, then you're going to start seeing the dashboard where once you add clients under revenue share billing, and once the payouts are made or sent to your account, then you should be able to see the payouts in this dashboard.
Got it. Michelle, do we have any? I see there's a lot of chat and questions, so I assume there's a lot of things about this. Maybe we want to ask.
Yes, we did. So one of the questions that I saw that I thought would be great is, what happens if your client removes you as the accountant? Let's say you set them up and it's 6 months later and things go awry and they remove you as accountant. You've got 6 months of that 12-month rev share left. Do you still get that if you're not the accountant user anymore?
Yeah, so the condition for the revenue share eligibility is that you do need to maintain the relation between the accountant and the client. So if the client moves out from your billing, they stops the relation with the accountant, then revenue share is no longer eligible.
Okay. And what about if you've got new clients or if you've got existing clients? Is it only new clients, or if you have existing clients on the preferred pricing, can you convert them to the Rev Share?
Yeah, so currently only the new clients to the QuickBooks ecosystem are eligible for revenue share. So only the clients that are added through QuickBooks Online accounted by you are going to be eligible for revenue share payouts. But we have heard a lot, we received lots of feedback from the accounts that they'll like to also migrate existing clients to the revenue share program. So we are, we are reviewing that feedback with the team.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing to really drive home or get across here is that this is just another avenue for signing up new clients. So a lot of the the what if situations with my existing clients are not really going to enter into that conversation. It's really just a choice when it comes to setting up a new client. Is it firm billed? That's the ProAdvisor pricing, and that's perpetual. Client billed, where it's not part of the revenue share, that's a discount, and that is going to end eventually. And then the same thing. This is kind of a best of the both worlds, where you're receiving something as the accountant, the client is also receiving a discount. The discount is just not as long as it would be as if it's direct billed and it's client billed, right?
That's right, Dan.
Okay. Color commentator by yes.
So is there an option? I'm sorry, one more question on that. Is there an option to give that discount back to the client? Because I was just telling somebody else, the client gets the first month free. They get 50% off the next 3 months. So the first 4 months, what about the other 8 months? Can you give that discount to the client instead of taking it as Rev Share?
So the discount is only for the first 3 months. So there's no way to pass on the discount like within the program. Okay. So if you're like to do that, you'll have to come up with a contract, like separate individual contract with your client, I will imagine.
Yeah, I think it's really just kind of weighing the options as far as the discounts, because if it's 50% for the first 3 months, what that discount actually tends to be, and then whatever the revenue share portion of that, and ends up being, comparing that to the direct billed where you get a longer discount period. It's really up to you, to decide which is best for you and your firm as well as your clients at the same time. And we did the demo. Okay, there we are. Now I moved the slide, so it's those segues right into getting paid up front, which is
thank you,
interesting. Yeah, thank you, In, for answering some of these questions and demoing the revenue share program.
Thanks for having me.
So getting paid up front, this is interesting. I was watching Hector's video on this and really got to talk to the person at the gallery, the gallery walk that we were walking through about how this is actually works. So the caveats here is you have to have QuickBooks Capital and QuickBooks Payments all within the same company, but it does have a really good benefit in that over other services that offer the same thing for pre-funding your invoices. But basically, that's what it is you can get pre-funded on your open invoices. If you are looking at the invoice section inside of QuickBooks Online and you see this fundable new icon, then that is where you start the process of being able to do this. So there is a 3% fee for the pre-funding of your invoices. So basically, you get paid up front by Intuit or QuickBooks Capital in this case, and there's no transaction fee on the QuickBooks payment side of things if the invoice is paid within that first 30 days. So you're going to be paying 2.9% anyway if they pay with credit card, or the 1% for ACH. So those fees are actually waived if the transaction is paid within the first 30 days. After 30 days, if the customer doesn't pay, then it moves, the whole thing moves over to the QuickBooks Capital section for regular repayment, and regular interest fees apply for that. So that is the advantage of this over other service providers doing similar things with pre-funding, because again, it's built in. And if you have the QuickBooks Capital and QuickBooks Payments already established in the company file, the prepayment can be really simple if it happens within the first 30 days. Now, if it doesn't, well, bummer. Well, it's going to be moved over to to a regular, short-term loan, which is really what these pre-fundings are. But you can manage those things inside of your QuickBooks. You don't have to go outside of QuickBooks to go and repay the loan. You just do it all right within there. So you can get pre-funded. Uses your QuickBooks data to get you approved for those loans. So there's not any kind of forms or anything that you need to fill out when you're using the pre-funding. Any questions on that you saw, Michelle?
Well, I was just going to add, I think this is just great, especially right now for our clients with cash flow issues, with the cost of everything getting higher. People that maybe used to pay on demand or within a few days, they may be taking longer to pay. So this might be a really good option for a lot of folks to help with cash flow right now, because things are in flux and it's affecting a lot of our clients, and a lot of small businesses out there are struggling with cash flow issues. So I think this is a great option, and the way it works is a lot better, like you said, than some of the other things like factoring. Once you factor an invoice, it's totally out of your hands and out of your control, and that's not the situation here. So I thought it was a great new offering for some clients that need some help with the cash flow issues.
Yeah, if they need the money now, like if they gotta buy supplies or things like that, that comes in real handy to actually have the money there. And then especially if they have a relationship with the client, they know, they're probably, they say, oh, I just need 10 days to pay this or what have you, that still puts you in within that 30-day window, so that there's not extra fees, on top of that.
Well, and that's a good point, Dan, because a lot of these businesses, the cash goes out the door before they're able to invoice and receive the money. Say, for example, you're somebody that does catering, we're doing the wedding Saturday, so let's say you're a catering company or your client's a catering business. They have to go out and buy all the food and everything before they're able to invoice and get paid. And so if they can do things like this to get the money faster, it's really going to help them, because they've got the cost going out the door up front. So it is very helpful. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we've got some extra links in there on the slides that'll be able to, you can learn more about what it is if you don't see it within you or your firm or your client's company files, as well as the support articles. So there's a lot of the FAQs and those types of questions can be answered on those resources as well. So I've got my Rockin' Payroll shirt wearing that today that handed out at the event. So we're going to talk. Go ahead.
So I just want to add that on the shirt. So some of you might remember Blaze, I can't remember Blaze's last name all of a sudden. Blaze is
Ilasano or something.
Yeah, he's our payroll guru, and he's been on our QB Power Hours previously when we were talking about payroll stuff, and he was going around begging us to take these shirts because they haven't been out to any conferences or conventions or anything like that. So they've been sitting in the closet for years. So he was pushing the Rockin' Payroll t-shirts for us. So I thought that was kind of fun. Thank you, Blaze.
Exactly. So one of the neat things, one of the struggles, I think that people who use QBO Payroll have found using that service is that once you record a transaction, getting things corrected when things are in a mistake situation is a little painful. I think that's as nice as I could say it, right? Because if you can't modify the transaction already, then those transactions, I mean, you need to reach out to Intuit directly and hope you get answered in a timely fashion, and then it needs to go to basically payroll corrections in order for that to happen. So they're rolling out some of the functionality so that you can do that within QuickBooks without the need of contacting Intuit. So basically, what it boils down to is, have the tax files been formed, or I'm sorry, I say that backwards. Have the tax forms been filed? So if a form filing has occurred for the period that you're trying to correct the paycheck, then unfortunately, yes, you still need to contact Intuit, because you have to have them amend your return, right? So if it's already been submitted, then the Intuit payroll services will need to amend the return, because that's going to have an impact on what's already been filed. But if it's been included in tax payments, yes, you can now make adjustments to those paychecks. If it's in the last check, it's really just kind of working through this here. And these are the checks that, when I say checks, these are the checkpoints along the way of you actually modifying the transaction, if that can actually be done and done successfully. So we have a little demo of somebody actually doing that. So they're looking at the paycheck list here. I don't want to stop that. Whoa, it's down to the corner there. So this paycheck is actually dated. I don't know if you can see that, but that's 10/22, and they've done monthly paychecks since then. So that's out of sequence, and typically you can only void or delete, or sometimes you can only do those things if it's the last paycheck that was done, like peeling back the layers of an onion. I remember talking to customers and saying, well, if you want to adjust this check, you have to undo all of those other payrolls prior to that, and then you can make this adjustment, and then you have to redo all your payrolls. And that was not a happy conversation, to say the least. So it'll allow them to avoid the check out of sequence, and then what it does, it creates an adjustment check for the checks that were affected. All right, so they avoided that check, so that check basically has a voided check inside of QuickBooks Online Payroll is a paycheck that has the exact opposite impact. So every earnings item, deductions, payroll contributions, those types of things, they're just reversed. So that's what that adjustment check looks like. And then the last check had a tax adjustment, maybe because Social Security or some of the things with the wage bases were modified by voiding this paycheck. So it took care of that for you by doing that. So this is just looking at what the paycheck looks like that was voided. So being able to handle that directly within the payroll system without reaching out and contacting payroll support is a big win, because everybody loves pausing a moment of their day to be on chat or the phone call to Intuit to make sure that if it's something they know how to do, right? So that's real easy to take care of, and those tools are rolling out to you, as accountants and bookkeepers.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be really happy to hear about that one, being able to fix that themselves.
Yeah, my jaw dropped. Literally, I was like, what?
It's like, yeah.
It's like, you're taking off the shackles?
Yeah. And Dan, that's a good opportunity too for me to just point out something too. Some people may not have realized, or maybe you missed it, because I know it's easy when you get busy. There's a whole new payroll certification that you can do now. We just had a VCon, and one of the tracks was for payroll certification. If you want to work on that payroll certification, it's under your ProAdvisor tab in training, and there's actually 2 courses that you'll want to take to help you prepare you for the payroll certification. There's the payroll specialist course training that you can do, and then there's also another one just on like doing payroll. So anyway, there's a couple of training opportunities out there. You can get CPE for that, and then there's the test if you want to be certified in payroll. So sorry, Dan, I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yet another badge that you can put on your email signature and on your website.
That's correct. Pink one this time.
Exactly. Everybody loves pink. It's the new black. Okay, so early pay is a feature or function inside of QuickBooks Payroll that allows employees to request an advance. So very similar to like the apps that are out there like Chime, where they can opt in and get an advance on their paycheck, and then it recoups the fee. A little bit about some of the percentages here. Employees, are limited to their pay cycles. A lot of people living paycheck to paycheck. Well, some people are living paycheck to before the next paycheck, and they need something ahead of time to be able to do that. So early pay will allow them to do that. This is a nice little statistic that I saw that 79% of employees would switch employers for early pay, for early access to pay.
Wow.
And I know that
I had no idea it was that high.
Right.
Wow. Sorry.
So that's why people are turning to these apps like Chime and Dave and those types of things, the payday loans, those kind of brick and mortar stores. So now it's nice that it's something that can be offered directly in the payroll service. And I know doing an employee loan, setting that up ahead of time, when an employee comes to you and say, hey, can I take an advance on my next paycheck? That's a pain to set that up, because you got to make sure that it's going to the right, liability account, and you've got to recoup that. This removes all of that from the employer setup, because it's all done on the employee's side of the house, right? So it's better for employees because but it's offering a financial benefit for employers, right? So you don't have the bank overdraft fees from the bank, because the employee can get their money earlier. They don't have the outrageous fees that are with brick and mortar, payday loans, and as well as those digital pay advance apps like Dave and Chime, right? So it's 1% of the advance with a $3 maximum. And of course, there's no late fees because it automatically comes out of the employee's next paycheck. And then there's a demo here. So oops.
It takes a team to run a business. At QuickBooks, we know that small businesses rely on their teams and want to provide in-demand employee benefits. Financial emergencies can happen to anyone. When things don't go as planned, QuickBooks Early Pay gives employees instant access to money before payday. If approved, Early Pay lets you, the employee, take an advance of up to 60% of your estimated upcoming paycheck, with a maximum of up to $700 per pay cycle. Once approved, you can choose to have money deposited into your bank account so you can pay bills or cover unexpected costs. There is no credit check. You can choose to automatically pay back your early pay advance on the due date, usually your next payday. Once you've repaid your advance, you can request early pay again when you need it, on your schedule. Employees can access early pay confidentially through Workforce, the online portal where employees can view their pay stubs and other important financial information. Early pay doesn't impact employers' payroll or books, so there's no extra work, cost, or liability for a business. When life happens, QuickBooks has your back with Early Pay.
Dan, I think this is another great opportunity for, these employees, because we were talking about cash flow for small
Access
businesses.
early pay confidentially through
Uh-oh, wait a
Workforce, the online portal where employees can view their pay
Hang on.
stubs and other
It
important
goes on
financial
to the next
information.
one, doesn't it?
Early pay
Yes.
doesn't impact
I can't
employers'
get the
payroll or books.
there it
Close
is.
the tab. There you go. But just like the small businesses have cash flow issues, so do people right now with the gas prices and the food prices and with inflation the way that it is. I think this is another nice way to help those employees. And I had no idea that many of them would switch employers for this opportunity. Somebody says something about that a lot of people don't budget well. It's unfortunately, the past 2 going on 3 years now have been so challenging for so many people with COVID and people losing their jobs, people not able to work or to travel to do their jobs. And now with the inflation and the gas prices, it's just double whammy. So if you can help them get an advance on their paycheck, I think this is an awesome opportunity. And I love the last part, no extra work for us or the people doing payroll or anything. So
Yeah, it doesn't affect the books at all, right?
Yeah.
It's all just handled within the employee and the payroll system, so they can automatically pay it back on the next check before they they can't get another payday loan advance on their check until they pay that back, and the fees are nominal when they do that.
Now, Dan, do you know, is that only for QBO payroll or is it desktop as well?
That's a really great question because it's actually within Workforce, which is available on both. But I believe I thought I asked the question, and of course they're rolling it out to QBO payroll first, getting the feedback before rolling it out. But the goal is to have it to be for all payroll users that use Workforce.
Gotcha. Now, Nancy had an interesting question. What would happen, and this is a hypothetical, if the employee takes the advance and then quits without enough to cover the advance in the final check? It did say you could only take up to, what was it, 60% or 40%?
60% of your pay with a maximum of $700. So yeah, if they didn't get another paycheck, they're still on the hook to repay it back through the program. Which it is done outside. It's handled within Workforce in Workforce app, but it's actually the funds transfer and everything is being handled by a third party. So that third party would like their money back, and they'll figure out a way to remind you that it's still owed back to them, and they'll probably levy some fees at that point. But the easy way, of course, is your next paycheck coming through the payroll system.
Okay, and Susan wants to know: is this available today, or when is this? I think it is, isn't it? Or no?
Yeah. So yes, they're all supposed to be available today, but to whom is the question, right? So it's always a anytime that something new comes out, these may be not widely available, like readily available to everyone. Like the revenue share was a selection process, and you had to opt in early at QB Connect and those types of things to even be considered. And so until it gets to the point where it's available for everyone, it's a random choice, and you might see some people have access to it, and some people don't, which makes it even more challenging as an accountant or bookkeeper for multiple clients to have different experiences like that. But that's why that is that it's just not totally available for everyone yet. But usually the sequence is new people get it first, then existing clients get access to it that are less complicated, and then the really complicated ones get it at the end. So if you have a lot of users and different workflow issues, then you're probably going to be the last to get it if you don't see it. All right. So our last poll: which of these features are you most excited about? I mean, I
Okay.
like that at the end there. I'm an accountant. Nothing excites me. And
Okay,
people are answering that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, Dan. I have a question for you. Let's talk through this. So, somebody wants to know, when you're using the Amazon app, can you connect to more than one credit card? I use credit cards for different divisions of the company. I don't see how the payment method would matter, because the payment method is within Amazon, and you choose how you want to pay it there. Then those transactions are flowing through into QuickBooks. So it would pick up the payment method, wouldn't it? Along with the
Well,
items
when
purchased?
in the demo and on the screenshots, it only did show one account. So maybe it only is
You
connected
can only
to
map it to one, maybe.
map it to one account, but you could change that, right? So like if you used a different payment method for an Amazon purchase through the business account, you could change that before you review that transaction, so it puts it in the right place.
And something else that just occurred to me, because she was talking about different divisions for the company, classes and locations. Are you able to do those things? I know one of the things I asked when I saw that Amazon app demo was, can you assign it to a job or a project? To a customer, or a job, or a project? And the answer was no, not at this time. So people, keep in mind, these are first gen. These are V1s coming out. So send your feedback into Intuit as you're like, ooh, I like this, but I need to have 2 credit cards, or, I need to allocate it to a project or something. Send your feedback to Intuit, because they really are listening and developing these products and features to help us. So send them your feedback.
And the look back for Amazon Business is 90 days, which of course was my first question. How far back can you go? And they're like, 90 days, but we're trying to get more. So they know some of these common ones. So they already knew that they wanted to expand it, but of course at first they have to put the stake in the ground somewhere.
Right. So then that question would bring up to me, if it works like a bank feed or similar to a bank feed. With the bank feed, when we could only get 90 days, we were able to go download it ourselves and import it. I wonder if you could do that with this Amazon app. If you wanted to go back to the beginning of the year and download and import, I'm not sure if that's possible or not.
Yeah, I mean, these app transaction things like the Square and the Amazon Business, they're not true bank feed connections. They're
Right.
app connections. So being able to import into that would be I think cumbersome at best. Would be the answer, because you're outside of the. But you can, of course, bring it into the bank feed, outside of that. But you're not going to have that split of the transactions and know and see on the expenses what was actually purchased.
So Melissa said she uses the Amazon app with several clients. You can definitely use it with multiple cards and bank accounts. So thank you, Melissa, for sharing
All
that.
right. Any other questions that you saw rolling by while I was talking?
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to go through them here. So somebody says, my client does not have an apps tab. If you don't see the apps tab, that means you don't have the right permissions. It needs to be, and help me out on this, Dan. It's the lead accountant or the primary admin. Is it the lead accountant who has the apps tab?
When you're in a
firm.
when you're in a client, hold on a second. Yes, I want to say yes to that. So as an accountant, you will see the apps tab under your practice. And if you're the master admin, you'll see the client apps and the firm apps. You don't see apps when you're in clients, right? So you won't see the apps tab when you're in your client. You will see the apps tab if you have the access in your firm.
And the
be able
key
to-
is, if you have the access. If you're not the master admin, you're not going to see the access. If you're a staff accountant or, you know, a supervisor or manager or whatever, you may not have the access to the app tabs because it's a master accountant. So somebody else may need to connect that app for you. Once it's connected, then you can see it within the client and use it and all that stuff.
Well, you still won't be able to access it if you didn't set it up, right? So you'll be able to see it in like the client apps section. But if somebody else, like if the client set up and actually connected the app, you may not be able to launch it from there. I'm trying to see if there's one.
It would be
here.
in the transactions tab though. Once they've connected it,
Yeah.
it would be in, and so they can use that in the transactions tab once it's been connected by someone who's got the authorization.
Yeah, like this one here is a bill.com. Somebody else connected it. I can't get to it. Right. So it just lets me know that they somebody else connected it, but they have this app connected to it. But since it's not me, I'm not going to be able to connect to it.
So can I share these results so everybody can see them? Because I think it's interesting. The number one most popular thing was payroll corrections. I kind of thought that's the situation. It's people have been kind of complaining about that for so long. So I'm very glad that that's something that really hit. And the business network was pretty popular, as well as that Amazon business app was very popular. So I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are pretty good functionalities and features that are coming out or available already. And you know, it was nice to be part of this event where you know, where we could give that feedback, you know, directly to them as well. You know, and some of them were just like, well, these are the way things are right now, you know. You know, and you get the same answer when you're at the Intuit booth at Scaling New Heights or QuickBooks Connect.
Right. Well, one more.
It was nice to actually, you know, go around the tables and see what is available.
It was, and I want to remind everybody, Dan and I couldn't talk about everything. So if there's something that they're projecting might come in the fall or, you know, in the next few months or whatever, we only shared with you about half of the booths that we went around and talked to and stuff. So Intuit is working on some other great new things that I think you guys will like and enjoy and appreciate and have been asking for. And I want to thank Intuit for having us out there for that event, but also for helping us with this, as well as creating all these new features to help keep streamlining our workflows and help make things better and easy for us and our clients. So thank you, Intuit, for everything. Dan, anything else or any other questions? I see there's some questions that we didn't get to, but
yeah, I think we'll have to throw those in the Facebook group after we, as our follow-up, or put it on the QB Power Hour page. But we hope you join us next time. We're going to have some sales tax updates, because who doesn't love sales tax? So friends at Avalar will be joining us to talk about those. And again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Power Hour.
Bye, everybody. Thanks again.